Hey y'all, welcome to the Filling Station. It's a new day, another opportunity to either make money in the market or to just learn from the market. But first, let me give my disclaimer. I am not a financial advisor. I just enjoy teaching people how to build generational wealth. And yes, the stock market is just one of those avenues. So this video is for educational purposes only. If you could please like, share, comment, subscribe, y'all. We learn and we grow together. With that being said, let's get started. So we are looking at Apple today, and as you can see, Apple has been trading sideways, right? As it's been an interesting day, or last few days in the market, let's say that. So what's interesting about Apple is we are back at May 24 prices. Apple had some gaps to the downside. The white lines on my charts just indicate gaps that need to be filled, and Apple is back in that area. So we're back at May 2024 prices and March 2024 prices for Apple. So where are the trouble places as of right now? Looks like we've been trading sideways. It's setting up for something. What that something is, we do not know. Now, yesterday it bounced off of the 200 EMA. And kind of got close to bouncing off the 200 EMA. I know Tesla and the SPY did. So let's just see where the trouble places are for Apple. As of now, moving back to the upside, we closed at 181.46. So we're going to be up just a little bit pre-market. So 185.95 could be a trouble place. Breaking that area back at 187.38. Should we break that level? 189.55 and breaking that 190.61. Breaking that 190.61 brings us kind of close to the 200 EMA, which is around the 194.17. We have 194.15 here, so we definitely need to watch if you're trading Apple at that 194.15 area. If we should break that, we could get back, possibly have trouble 196.93. Breaking that brings us back to the $200.83. Now, can we continue declining? We very well can, y'all. So back to the downside under 181.47. The ATR trailing stop is forming now, the 180.06. Should we break that level, we have support around the 178.14. Should we break that level, 177.36, 176.80, and if we break that level, we can come back to 175.23. Should we break the 175.23 area, 175.23, yes. If we should break that level, we have around the 173.42. So if you are trading Apple today, just know that, it looks as if we're down at an area where we're filling a gap that needed to be filled, to where, we could possibly take this area and bounce back. In this market, y'all, I say so often, in this market, anything is possible, so trade carefully, right? And it seems like AMD is looking kind of the same way, right? We closed at $83.64. It too is creating a gathering spot for us, and y'all know what? It is setting us up for something. We just need to wait on that, it to give us an indication or of which direction it wants to take. So I need to remember this area for AMD here, because price is kind of like trading in this zone, or was trading in this zone, and that is our support and our resistance. As of right now, we have support at around $83.18. Resistance, as we can see here, is around the $85.21. If we should break that area, we could come back to $87.70. If we should break that, we have $89.39 as a high, and that $89, let's just say the $89 area, because the high of this candle, I always say something stopped us here for a reason, right? So we need to remember that area, something stopped us there, which is our 200 EMA is at 89.39. So if you're trading AMD today, these are areas to the upside, or your resistance areas. Now back to the downside, we could very well breaking under the 83.18, we can come back to this area here. Price kept us in this area here for a reason. And I always kind of like go to where my body and my, right about there. So around $81.50. Something stopped us in this zone here for a reason. So if by chance we break that 83.18, just know we could possibly have trouble again, or support around 81.50. Should we break that area, something stopped us again in this area here for AMD right here at the $80.16 area. If we should break that level, something stopped us again around, let's say, the $78.80, or around, look, we can really come under to $78.58. Something stopped us in this zone here. So those are areas to the upside and to the downside. If we should break that $78.58 for AMD, we can come back and retest the $77.75. So if you are trading AMD today, those are areas kind of like your support and resistance areas to the upside. To the downside, y'all know I say so often, in this market anything is possible, right? We are now looking at Meta, and it looks as if it too has been trading in this zone here. So it looks like all of the last three, things that we've looked at, everything is trading kind of like sideways, waiting for a move. So we have to be careful and wait on the move. Do not enter the trade until we have a clear indication as to what's going on, and that's important. That's one of the things I had to learn the hard way. Let's say that. So again, looking at Meta, we closed at 516.25. It looks as if the 200 EMA is our resistance area. That would have been the zone that we were trading in, right? Now, looks like now it's going to be a support place for us. So back to the upside, if by chance we break back above this high here of 539.37, which is here, I need to remember that 539.37 area, we could very well have trouble again back at, let's say I have the 552.73. So I have 552.73, and as you can see, y'all, there's a few layers of support from that 552.73 area. There's we have 554.50 again at 557.07, and breaking that level 559.01, and if we should break that level 562.06, and breaking that level 564.25, and if we should break that 566.52. Those are your resistance areas as of now for Meta. Keep in mind, in this market anything is possible, and I made that view a little bit different so that I wouldn't have to go, let me see, there we are. Now back to the downside, if by chance we break under the 519.45 area, we could very well come back to around the 512.78. I always say something stopped us in this area here. So 512.95, if we should break that 509.96, and if we should break that level 504.17, breaking that 504.17 kind of brings us back to this area here of 497.76, and if we should break that, it brings us kind of like back to this zone around the 484.11. So breaking the 497.76, 484.11 could be a support area. That's kind of like a zone, and in between that we could very well get stopped out. So if you're trading Meta today, these are kind of areas to the upside and to the downside. Now if we should break this 484.11, we could very well come back to, I always say something stopped us here, the 474.21, breaking that 474.21, 467.21. If we should break that 474.21, we can come back to 467.21. So those are your resistance and your support areas for Meta today. And again, y'all, trade carefully. This is an interesting market, right? So we are now looking at Microsoft. We closed at 357.86, and as you can see, we had a strong candle here at this 30-minute chart. Again, it was trading in a zone, it has been trading in a zone. So I'm going to mark a few levels, I was going to say layers of support or resistance. So I'm marking the 361.58. Why? Because price has gathered in this area. I'm also going to mark the area of 359.01. Why? Because price gathered in this area. And again, y'all, I look at support and resistance on a much smaller scale, because when I'm in the trade, I kind of want to know where my possible trouble places are, right? So I go and I mark the gathering spots, or the places where a lot of consolidation has been. Why? Because there's a strong possibility that, it's going to come back to that place. So back to the let's go to the upside for Microsoft. As of now, getting back above this 200 EMA, it looks like the 200 EMAs are going to be our strong resistance for us today on many of those stocks. So if we get back above the 364.51 area, we could very well come back to 370.02, and if we should break that level 371.88, and breaking that brings us back to 372.98. If we should break that 372.98 area, we could possibly have trouble again. 374.66, 376.78. So those are areas to the upside for Microsoft. Now to the downside, if by chance, let's say we break under 358.90, we could very well come back to 356.79. That was our ATR trailing stop, and y'all know, in my opinion, that's strong support or strong resistance. It is our support in this area. So if we come back down to 356.79, we could break breaking that, we could possibly find support again 355.37. And if by chance we break that, let's go ahead and mark this level here of 352.36. It's just where the price is gathered together here around the 352.36. If we should break that, we could possibly find trouble or support again at 350.86. And if we should break that level, we could very well come back to 346.47. And should we break that, we could very well come back, let's say, around the 341.61 area, or I would say the 341.01 area, because the body is here. I always try to go to where I have a few layers, a few body areas of, so that's touching that line. So that's how I normally just look, support charting tips, let's say that, right? So 341.01 could very well be a support area for Microsoft. So if you trade Microsoft, or if it's something that you like to, chart or to watch, these are areas to the upside and to the downside. Again, y'all, not financial advice. I need to say that again, right? So let's go and look at Tesla today. Tesla is interesting to trade, y'all. If you get in at the right time and out at the right time, you can make some really good moves. What's interesting is how we come from a 208.56, made a high of 252 in one day. That is, right? 252 only to come back down, and it seems like it's setting us up for something, right? And I do, looking at my Tesla charts, I bet you're wondering like what is going on. I've been charting Tesla for a few years now, so I kind of know where possible trouble places are. Now back to the upside, it looks like, if we can get back above 342.74, we could possibly have trouble 343.77. If we break that area, 245.72. Did I say? Okay, yes, 242.55. If we should break that, 243.83. Let me go back with Tesla. Let's go back with that, right? So this is our gathering spot. As of right now, looks like we're breaking out of that. That 240.72 was a resistance area. We see that from here, right? 240.72, and breaking that would have been 241.85, breaking that 242.66. Okay, now if we break that level, 244 is going to be a rejection, or could be a rejection area for us, that 244 area. And if we should break that area, we could possibly have trouble here at the 200 EMA, right here at the 245.72. As you can see, beyond that, there's a lot of layers of Tesla, that could stop us out there. So we're going to say at the 247.26, breaking that level, we could possibly have trouble at 248.35. And if we should break that around the 249.52, what's interesting, if we break that 249.52, we could very well have trouble again at that 251.07 area for Tesla. So those are going to be possible rejection areas or resistance areas. And on many of the charts that we've looked at today, the 200 EMA has been, the next major level or key level of resistance, and that's around the 245.70 as of now for Tesla. So back to the downside, that 50 EMA was holding us up. As you can see, we were here at this area for a while. So as of now, if we should break under the 236.29 area, we could very well come back to 234.57 again here at 233.68, and breaking that brings us back to the 232.25, breaking that level 230.76. If we should break that 230.76 area, in my opinion, that's a strong area of support for Tesla. We could very well come back to the 229.06, and breaking that, there's a few layers under there from 227.41, all the way down to the 226.13. So if you're trading Tesla today, yeah, it's been trading in a kind of like it's moving up. I'm going to see if I can come out just a little bit to show you. We've been moving up based on coming off of the 208.56 area. Now, what's interesting is we could very well hit this 200 EMA as we did on yesterday and come back to the downside. So I say so often, y'all, anything is possible. Trade carefully. I'd say mark your levels, and once it goes against your why, get out, live to trade another day, right? So Tesla and normally exceeds its ATR, and this is a great example of coming off of this 208 to the 251 area here on yesterday. That 252 was the high on yesterday, but as you can see, it came to a level that I kind of like already had that marked as an area of possible rejection area for Tesla. That's why we have so many marks on my chart, or lines on my charts, because I've been trading Tesla for a while, and I kind of, I've been marking support and resistance areas just because again, when I'm in the trade, I kind of want to know where trouble places are. So if you're trading Tesla today, y'all, these are areas to the upside and to the downside. Again, not financial advice, and mark your levels, and once it goes against your why, get out. Make sure you have the discipline to get out. So we're now looking at the SPY, and we closed at 504.38. And it too was it's moving back to the upside, but again, y'all see this next level, the 200 EMA 521.48. It could be a trouble place for us, so we need to be careful at this area. Can we test this and come back down? Absolutely. I say so often, in this market anything is possible. Again, the SPY and Tesla is very congested on my chart, so I'm going to go and show back to the upside. If we should break above 519.21, we could possibly have trouble 519.79. Again, here at 520.58, 521.02. Our 200 EMA is at 521.48. And if we should break that, 521.82, not far away. 522.60. And again at 523.24, breaking that 523.73. Those are possible rejection areas for the SPY as of now. So I'm going to go back down to my normal view, because back to the downside, let's see if I can make that a little, there we are. Back to the downside, we could possibly have trouble 511.16. That's been holding us up before, and y'all can see the white lines are gap fill areas. So it seems as if the SPY is coming back down, filling some gaps from, you know, a year or so ago. I didn't mark the dates on those like I used. I've started marking the dates in before, I did not, so I do need to go back and see what those dates are. So back to the downside, support we have at around 508.56. ATR trailing stop 507.32, breaking that 505.89, breaking that level. We could possibly have trouble around the 503.19, and if we should break that area, we could very well have trouble again around the 499.52. If we break that area, 496.96 for the SPY. And y'all, this is going to be an interesting market, let's say that, because it looks like, you know, it's been trying to move back to the upside. However, that 200 EMA is something I would definitely watch. And is it going to give us one of those tested 200 here and then drop back to the downside? We don't know. It's a lot going on in the news with the tariffs. So again, I say so often, y'all, trade carefully in this market. Anything is possible. So this is what I see when I look at the market, y'all. And I say so often, there's so many different ways to trade the market, and what's challenging sometimes is trying to figure out what way works best for you. I hope these videos are very, very helpful. Again, if you could please like, share, comment, subscribe. We learn and we grow together, y'all. Until next time, be blessed as well as a blessing unto others.